the Wyman. We're gonna listen to Royal and JBV. They're gonna give us their thoughts on Rocket League.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the JBV and Royal Show. I am your co-host, JBV, obviously, Roll Tide Brother, and I'm here with my co-host, Royal Grace, also known as Royal, also known as T Grace. We have a lot to go over today with you. We're pretty excited. This is the first real episode of the JBV and Royal Show. We have a lot on tap for you, special guests, of course. We can go over some stars of the week, some plays of the week. To start, we're gonna start with a week one review. So I'll throw it over to Royal and we'll jump right in.
All right. So yeah, of course. Week one recap. Week one of Wyman's League Season 2 underway. We're back. Feels great to be back. But yeah, I'm gonna start with my own team. Scarlet Wings versus the Revenants. I was pretty confident going into the match. Thought we could take it easier than we ended up doing. It ended up being a reverse sweep in favor of Maddie Bananas and Frodo Wagons over Bazed and KD. First couple games came out. Bazed and KD were making insane-o saves all the time. They had like 9 saves a game, I'm pretty sure, in the first 2 games. Like, it was ridiculous. Really though, once game 3 hit, Maddie really just turned it on. Games 3 and 4, and then Frodo popped off and hit a really nuts shot even in game 5. So it was a really good series. I was happy to get a win out of it. But maybe not what we fully wanted as far as a result. But we'll take the series win, of course. Really impressed with how Baze and KD played. I know Baze was lagging, but KD really did impress me. I haven't seen him play in a long time, but he's definitely improved a lot. They still don't have the high salary, so I think they may struggle with that. But they're definitely a solid team, top to bottom.
All right. A win is a win is a win. You take wins where you can get them. So moving on, we're gonna look at the Water Bears and the Cheesy Blasters. So the Water Bears are gonna come in and get a sweep here, 5-0, and let me tell you, Water and TBJ popped off. Water comes in with a 7-5-1 MVPR. And then T-Bone, as a C player, is going to come in with a 4.64. So T-Bone is overpowered as a C player. He talks like he's not good at the game, but clearly, I mean, if he plays like that the rest of the season, I don't think there's going to be another C player that touches him. And then of course they're playing the Cheesy Blasters. Mushy, I'm excited to see what he can do. We played him in a scrim, and he was actually, we played this exact matchup, Mushy and Abfu, and they did pretty well to be playing against Pops. So, I mean, that Water TBJ matchup, that's tough because like I said, TBJ is a great C player, and I think we're going to be hearing more about Water and TBJ later in this episode. So yeah, just dominating.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's their B lineup. I mean, just get Water and Lightning together, and whew, that's a dangerous pairing. It was dangerous enough as it was, a 5-0 over the Blasters.
Yeah, just imagine that C pairing with Lightning and T-Bone. It's gonna be
spicy.
I feel sorry for whoever's playing them, bro.
Yeah, facts. All right, we'll go into we'll just go straight down. Another 5-0. The Purple Cobras, the Mighty Armadillos rebrand. Steve took over as GM this season and drafts a solid team. Clearly, they 5-0 the defending champs, the Wild Hogs. So I mean, not a whole lot to say about the series. I mean, it's pretty much a complete domination. At one point during the stream, the casters were incredibly excited that the Hogs actually scored a goal. So yeah, that kind of just explains how the series went. Um, Brad hit an insane flip reset fake thing. I don't even know. The dude's pretty nuts. But I mean, Steve and J Hex took care of Naturals and Hobo 5-0. So I mean, Purple Cobras are definitely going to be a team to look out for. That is their A lineup there, and they've got the Big C also as their C player, who is really tall. I don't know if you guys knew that, but
Extremely tall, 7 foot.
He is very tall. But yeah, I mean, not a ton to say about that game. Just absolute domination, I think.
Yeah. So, and I'm scared of both those teams. I think both those teams can get a lot done. Moving on, we got the Matadors and the Honey Badgers. Of course, I'm the GM of the Honey Badgers. We 4-1 the Matadors. We had a little bit of a scheduling mishap. TSR wasn't able to make it, so our B roster actually played their C roster, but they're all pretty much the same salary anyways, so I don't really take that into account. It was 3v2. It was JBV and Pops versus Atomic, Bledsoe, and Atomic's Ping. I reset those servers like 6 times. We had to restart a game because Atomic just lagged out. And then, of course, we open up 4-0, and then Atomic ends up, using his ping to his advantage and stealing a game from us at the end. We're a little bit disappointed with that, but we'll take the win. Just as the Scarlet Wings will take their win as well.
Absolutely.
It was a great series though. It was a fun series to play in.
Yeah, I mean, I am kind of shocked that Pops let up a game there, but 4-1. What can you really say about that?
Yeah, he's pressed, bro. He's pressed.
One of my favorite matches this week. Probably the best match that I saw was the Narcotics Department and the Blue Coats. This was a great series, probably the most evenly matched series that we had all week. It was Easy and Aubrey taking on Magic and Delu. First, I just want to say Delu's cracked. If you watch the series, literally everyone after the series was like, Delu, how are you at 12-5? Like, you're insane. But anyway, that's another point. But yeah, Narcs take it 3-2 over the Blue Coats. Easy and Aubrey get the job done. Easy the 17 salary. Trying to prove that he should have been taken earlier. Should have been taken again by the Honey Badgers. But yeah, really just a great series. Everyone played really well. Could have gone either way. It was just a really enjoyable series to watch. And yeah, so there's just one more series to talk about, Mr. JBV.
Yeah, so we're going into the finishers and the Venom. Now, let me tell you, I think I've never wanted J-Gab to win a game more in my life. I love to see Pot lose. It's one of the things I literally wake up in the morning hoping to see. But unfortunately, I did not see that as the Venom 3-2 the finishers. I would like to say 2 players really popped off. Zyda had an amazing game. He's finishers B player, comes in with a 6.17 MVPR and had 16 saves, which I want to say led this week in saves. So he really popped off and was trying to get that dub. And then Pi popped off, also a B player. And I'm looking, it's kind of unfair that Pi is a B player. I mean, he's a 16 salary. But he comes in with like 27 shots and scores half of them, puts half of them away with a 5.44. So it's unfortunate to see. I think I even called finishers over Venom just out of spite of Pi. But Pi wins this round. Hopefully I get to see him in the playoffs and take care of business. Right. Finish what J-Gab couldn't.
I mean, yeah, you think about that. Zyda as the B player on that team. You think about who their A player is. It's Nit. It's a no worse than top 2 player in this league.
Exactly.
And you have that as a B player coming out with a 6-something MVPR. I mean, shoot, that's going to be a.
I feel
gonna be a
bad
scary
for the
matchup.
conference that was stacked with 17s.
Yeah. Yeah, no, trust. I'm scared of everyone in my division. Literally, everyone in my division 3-2'd and 2-3'd. Like, there's one game separating first place from sixth place after week 1.
Yeah,
So
and every game on our side should have been a sweep. Should have been if we weren't throwing game 5. But
right. All right, so kind of the recap of week 1. Blue conference was really close. Red conference was not so much. Should make for an interesting rest of the season. But we'll go ahead and get into the stars of the week. All of these players have already been mentioned, so probably does not come as a surprise that our stars of the week are going to be Water, Zaida, and T-Bone Jones. I mean, we've kind of gone over their stats. Really just pretty insane. Especially Water. I mean, a 7.5 MVPR is just, I mean, it's bananas. Like, I mean, I don't know. There's not much to really say about how good of a series he had. 18 goals in 5 games. Had 14 saves also, which was, I mean, if Zaida led in saves with 16, Water was right there with 14.
yeah, but then added goals. So
also, this man, I'm just seeing this as I'm speaking here. This man had 18 goals on 20 shots.
20 shots. Yeah, I just seen that too. Wow,
that's what, like 90.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's
And
90% shooting.
I'd like to say he beat out Pops. Pops had a 7.49 MVPR. So I mean, they're right there neck and neck. Pops just couldn't get it done in game 5. So he didn't end up getting star of the week or a sweep. But yeah, just nuts. The thing is that I feel like this season is way more balanced. Teams have an extra good player. I think last season, your C player and even sometimes your B player are kind of lacking a little bit. I think this season, every team has 3 good players. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how everything shakes out. Yeah. Especially over there in the other conference. I mean, wow, at those teams. So thankful that I'm in the red conference.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I am scared of the blue conference, but I'm also looking forward to the battles. I mean, if it's going to be this close the entire season, I mean, it's going to be so much fun. You come down to week 5 with everybody still in the running for playoffs. So really, it's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, so really just well done to all of these players. A couple of Water Bears up there, as well as Zaida as the finishers. So next,
T-Bone brother, you're correct.
He is correct. He'll never admit that and never let that be true.
You're not fooling me.
But yeah, exactly. But next we're gonna get into our plays of the week. Shout out to Pi for making our play of the week video. Oh wait, his computer crashed or died or whatever. Yeah, so we just kind of took
rely on them.
We took it upon ourselves to rank our 3 plays of the week. If you have any issues with them, you can blame Pi for not having a voting this week. Hopefully next week we're back normal. They will be voted on as normal. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into our top 3 plays of the week. Here we go.
Oh, absolutely. We saw a little bit of pent-up aggression there in chat from Obfu getting frustrated at the crossbar.
Oh, he's going for the flip reset.
Oh, he goes for the flip reset. The bump in net from T-Bone. That might be a play of the week nomination right here.
That is definitely play of the week. Water goes for the flip reset. Obfu doesn't know what to do. Nate can't go after it thanks to T-Bone. Wow. Oh my god, that is what we wanted to see.
Bananas to a completely open net, trying to go for a double touch maybe, not able to. Fardo's up, don't know if he can get a touch here.
Oh, no way!
Oh
My God!
Oh my goodness! If I had a can of balls, I would have opened it right now. That is
Clip
incredible.
it! Frodo Swaggin says, clip it!
Oh my! Oh, he even did like a 360 in the air.
Play of the
Holy
week!
shit.
Clip it!
The way he went up, I said there was no way he gets to that, and he's proving us wrong.
Oh my God! What salary is this man?
All right, weren't those just some fantastic plays? Nice shot, nice shot, nice shot.
Wow. Close one.
Wow, what a save!
No
What a
problem.
save! Yeah. So I mean, you saw him. Maybe there was a little bit of co-host bias in who got the number one play of the week. I'm not going to say anything about that. I will say that it was a Wings player. And that is what it is. It was a nice shot, Frodo. Big respect to you. I'm just saying. I was told somebody had to be number one. That's all I'm gonna say. That's the last thing I'm gonna say about
Look,
that.
all I'm saying
Anyways.
is blame Pi and Nadi for not having a video.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to that man Pi for not being reliable. We expect nothing more from you. So thank you for all that you do for us. So moving on, we're gonna hop right in to our preview for week 2. So we're gonna talk a little bit about these matchups and who we know for sure is gonna play. So I'm gonna toss it over to Royal, and he's gonna see what's what.
All right. So week 2 is going to be really our big C matchup. Not the big C, although he will be playing.
He's
this week.
very tall.
He
By
will
the way.
be playing this week. He is tall. So this is our C matchup week. 4 out of our 6 matches are C forced pairings. Starting with the Water Bears and the Purple Cobras. The Big C playing in the C matchup. So you're going to have, let's see, J-Hex and the Big C against Lightning and T-Bone Jones. That's going to be a really good matchup in my opinion. Everyone in that lobby is pretty nuts. That's going to be one of the best matchups of the week in my opinion. Purple Cobra's coming off of 5-0. Actually, both teams coming off of 5-0 the last week. So really a matchup to see who can really get out in front. They're in the Red Conference. Could go either way, honestly. JX and Lightning are both super nuts. T-Bone says he's not nuts, but we have obviously seen evidence to the contrary. And the Big C's really tall. So
That man be lying.
yeah, that's facts. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, and I would like to point out, I think all of the Red Conference are playing our C matchups this week. I do believe. So this is C week for the Red Conference. Moving on is going to be the Matadors playing the Wild Hogs. Obviously, this is Atomic and Samuel's teams. So for the Matadors, actually, they played their C lineup last week, and then Atomic was going to try to get out of it, but that ain't gonna fly. So it's going to be Atomic and Bledsoe playing Sammy and Hobo. I said earlier that, of course, I feel sorry for whoever has to play Atomic C lineup with their C lineup, and Sammy's going to do it. But I think there's no one better than Sammy to upset Atomic. So I think that'll be a fun matchup to watch. I do think Atomic C lineup is a little overpowered. I mean, they took a game off Pops, so that's impressive.
Yeah, for sure. Them and the Revenants, I think, probably have the 2 best C lineups in the league.
For sure.
So I think they're going to be teams to definitely watch out for. But yeah, moving on to we'll go to your matchup, Cheesy Blasters and the Honey Badgers. Now this one is interesting. So you have now. So breaking news, you all obviously already know this. Galaxy is replacing Abfu on the Cheesy Blasters. Abfu will remain the GM, but he is going to non-playing. Galaxy is taking his spot. Everyone is just sliding down. Galaxy becomes the A player. So now the former A player on the Cheesy Blasters, Mushy Pancakes, a.k.a. Nate, becomes the B player, and Helly becomes the C player. So you have Nate and Helly against Himley and JBV. Now, that is quite the team to play against the Honey Badgers. There's not many weeks that I expected to pick the Cheesy Blasters. I'm not even going to lie. This, I think, will be one of those weeks. Nate and Helly are probably going to be cracked. JBV is a 1600 Smurf, but that's just another story.
Fake news.
Any
Fake
thoughts
news.
on your matchup there?
I think we're definitely, the underdog, but that ain't never bothered me none. I've been the underdog since we started Y Men's League. I wasn't supposed to make it to the finals last season, and I did. So we're just going to play our game and try to steal some games off of them, and if we steal 3 games off of them, then great. One thing I would like to say is that you cannot score if you are in the gulag, and I think that is where I'm going to be trying to send my opponents this week. I think that's what I'll add to the game. So moving on. Our next matchup is going to be the finishers and the narcotics department. So we don't know exactly who's going to play. At least I don't at the time of this show running. So we do know that it's going to be it's a pretty important matchup for the Blue Conference's playoff picture, given that the finishers have knit, but they are, if the playoffs started today, out of the playoffs. With that 2 and 3, they're actually, I guess, tied for last in the conference. And then of course everybody else is 3 and 2, I believe, the 1, 2, and 3 teams. So this is a pretty important matchup. It'll be interesting to see who takes it. I do believe I remember hearing that ZB will actually be playing in this game, and it'll be streamed. So the return of ZB will be televised.
Yeah, I think you're right. So I think it should be, if they play the same lineup, it'll be Easy and ZB against Nit and Zyda.
That's a good matchup.
That's a great matchup. I mean,
that's a good matchup.
Nit's the best player in that lobby. So I'm gonna have to give it. I would have to think it's the best player there, as far as who would take it. But really could go either way, and we'll kind of get into more of why we pick certain games a little bit later on when we talk about our pick'ems for this week. But
then again, ZB is the greatest person on the planet, and I'm not really gonna pull against him. So I guess we'll see.
Of course. I mean, he's great. He's all of our dads. So, I mean, what can you say?
Why men's dad? Why dad?
Absolutely. And so next matchup is going to be the Venom against the Scarlet Wings. I do
Who's
know
their
GM? I think it's Kopex. Pretty sure.
Yeah, probably.
I do know the lineups for this matchup. It's actually about to start as we are recording this, so I am not able to spoil anything. But it is going to be Maddie and Kopex against Crossfire and Pi. It's really, Venom have been, one of the top-ranked power ranking teams because they've got the 2 GCs. This is going to be their big test, I think. Maddie's insano good. Kopex is also insano good, especially for his salary. I mean, they're nuts, but they're playing against 2 GCs, so will they be able to manage that? I don't know. I know that literally about 20 minutes ago they were playing ranked on Maddie's main account against 1600s, and they were winning. So what does that mean? I don't know, but should be a good matchup. I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, I definitely think that is certainly a great matchup, and I think you're going to hear me say this. I think pretty much every matchup that we're going to have is going to be a great matchup just throughout the season. I think we have a lot of great teams. I said that earlier. The last matchup we have this week is going to be the Blue Coats and the Revenants. This is actually going to be a C roster game. So what we're looking at is going to be Ryder and KD, I believe, playing Agent Thunder and Delu. And that's another one that, like we said earlier, the Revenants have a great C team, and I think they're going to be highly favored in this game. I think I'm less worried about who's going to win and more worried about by how much. I think that's going to be the story of this game. Give Delu a little motivation there.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget that D-Lou is cracked, and he's the biggest sandbag I think I've ever seen. But
He's a 1600 GC, by the way.
so are you, I think.
Season 13 GC.
Yeah, I think you're right on his alt. But yeah, that's gonna be our matchups for this week. All of them should be really good, especially with 4C matchups. Really getting the lower end, so to speak, of Y-Man's League, getting to play all really in the same week should be pretty exciting. So what we've got next on deck here, this is a brand new segment to the JBV and Royal show. I'm really excited for this. It makes my heart happy that we're going to bring this segment to the show. It's going to be our brother moment of the week.
The JBV brother moment of the week. This is really the whole reason that I even have this, or we created this show, just so I could come here and rant about people. So if you're wondering who is going to make JBV brother moment of the week this week, look no further than that boy Atomic, because let's talk about how first week, I know I got to schedule the Atomics. I start early, man. I start like right after the draft. We start talking about who we gonna play. So, a little leading up to it, there was issues of when we were gonna play, what day, who was available, which is fine. That's just normal to scheduling. But then we decide on a day and a time. So we decide Saturday, June 6th. At 8 p.m. That's what we decide on. So even though I was the home team, I should have, put it in the match schedule. I told him I was going to do it. He insisted. So I was like, all right, Tommy, go put it in match schedule. So he goes in and he schedules this game for Saturday, June 13th at 9, which is none of that was agreed. None of that was even close to what we was going to do. So then I tell him, I was like, hey, that's not the right day. So then he changes it to Saturday, June 8th at 9. Now understand, June 8th was a Monday. This man can't even be bothered to look at his schedule. Brother, what are you doing, brother? So then I say, bro, Saturday is the 6th. So then he changes the time to 8. I was like, brother, Saturday is the 6th. Mind you, meanwhile, 12 stick reactions, 12 of them. 12. That's a very large number, a large percentage of Y-Mans. So at least 12 people were active to give this man the stick, and I wasn't even one of them. I wasn't even one of the people that did it. So, brother, what are you doing, brother? Golly. And that is our JBV brother moment of the week, and I'll be happy to bring that back to you every week with that same energy.
Now, I do just want to clarify, too. If I am not mistaken, it still says June 8th.
No, he changed it after the game. He changed it after we played. He went back and changed it after we'd already played. And again, I mentioned earlier, let's not talk about how I had to reset that server about, 8 to 10 times for this man because his ping. He joined and then said nope and left and was like, remake the server. Like immediately. Within the first 5 seconds of being in there, man asked for a server reset. We had to restart a game. This man, brother.
Sounds about right.
Brother.
Well, I do enjoy that segment. I feel like Atomic might be featured more than once this season, but you never know. It's
going to end up being the Atomic brother moment of the week.
Exactly. Somebody else is going to do some stick-worthy stuff and get on the brother moment of the week. But next, we are going to bring on our special guest for the week. We've mentioned his name maybe once or twice already in this episode. Very happy to welcome to the JBV and Royal Show. Welcome to Y-Man's League. Welcome back to Y-Man's for the 17th time. Mr. Coming and Going himself.
Lunar League president.
I still want on League Ops, by the way. Chris Mother effing Kazi, Galaxy. I mean, yeah, he has a special place in my heart. I don't know why he keeps leaving Y-Mans and coming back.
Great guy.
And leaving and coming back.
Great guy.
Yeah. So we'll be right back with our special guest, Galaxy.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're here with our special guest this week. He's a man of many names. His mom knows him as Chris. His crush knows him as the guy with the binoculars. But of course, we all affectionately know him as Galaxy. Happy to have you here, Galaxy.
Happy to be here.
All right, we're gonna interview our guest here, and then we're actually gonna do some pick'ems for you guys. So I'm gonna throw the first question over here to Royal.
All right, this is hard hitting, investigative, like journalism interview here. First question: what's it like finally being in Wyman's League? Like, what are your thoughts? What are you looking forward to? How do you feel?
Well, I mean, just glad to be on a team. It's, I guess, unfortunate the way it happened, but I'm just glad to have a good GM who's supportive of our team, and I look forward to seeing what we can do and hopefully making playoffs. That's the ultimate goal.
Making playoffs. Okay. So I'm interested in knowing, of course, I'm gonna ask the hard hitting questions here. What's it like coming in, after the season has started, and your team has a losing record? Your team is 0-5 right now. Your team has not won a single game. How does that feel?
Well, I mean, there's obviously a sense of urgency. I mean, the season itself is relatively short compared to a lot of other standard leagues. So we don't have too much time to really wait for a turnaround. We kind of need to act now. And I'm hoping that starting this week is really the turnaround for our team. Hopefully we win this upcoming series, and then that'll put us in a position to where we don't have our backs against the wall for every season. I don't really want to be in a spot towards the end of the season where we have to get 5-0s and 4-1s constantly in order to make the playoffs. So the goal is to win this series and then put the rest of our team in a successful position going forward.
Who are you playing this week, by chance?
This week is against none other than your team.
Oh yeah, that's right, the Honey Badgers. Let's go.
So
Yeah, that's
I'm confident with our team.
That's
I'm
C
confident
matchup,
with
right?
it.
So that's
Yeah,
so
that's
Galaxy
innate.
doesn't even get to play till
I
next
do not
week,
get to
so-
play.
He just gets to watch and see what I do.
The unfortunate part is that technically a lineup was
Right.
already used,
Right.
so I will be playing one less than I would have.
Right.
But regardless,
I wouldn't say unfortunate, but
I'm confident with our team. Nate, from what I've heard, I've never seen him play, but from other teams and from what I've heard, he's a very, very, very good player, especially at a salary. I've been told he plays at nearly a GC level. So
he's good. He's
being
good.
able to see that at a C lineup, I think will bode well for our team this week.
Yeah, that kind of goes into what our next question was going to be. Was have you played with both teammates? So you have not played with Nate, and how do you feel about their play styles? So we'll go into. I'm sure you've played with Helly at least a few times over the months.
Yeah, I think the main thing with Alec is to make sure that he feels comfortable throughout the course of the game, and that's with a lot of players. Is that you want to make sure that you're communicating well with your team, not only just in game but also throughout the season, making sure they're comfortable, making sure that they're in a position to succeed as best as possible. And every person in a lineup has their own role, and discovering that role as early as possible in the season means that as you transition into the playoffs and the postseason, it becomes a lot easier for you to know what you need to do to succeed. I mean, the first couple weeks and the first times we run some of these matchups and scrims, it is going to be a discovery process where we're going to need to figure out, what our play style is as a team and how do we fit into that mold individually. Because every player is so different and they have their own strengths and weaknesses, and you just need to figure out in what ways to combine that in order to get a win.
Yeah, right on.
So, before we continue, you are telling me that if I want to win this week, I have to demo Helly and make him feel uncomfortable. That is what you just said, right?
I did not say that.
From the mouth of Galaxy.
All I'm saying is, if you want to risk those demos, I think we'll be ready for free 2v1s against Simley for the rest of the match.
I don't know. Gulag is 1v1, baby. I hope you win and make it back. All right. Yeah, so you're coming in, your team's down, you lost 5 games. What do you think that you bring to the table? Is because obviously everybody's bumping down. You're getting a salary increase. You're getting like a 4, 5, 6. I can't even remember salary increase. And so, what do you think you bring to the team? What do you think? What's going to change now that Galaxy is the A player?
I think that our team, when you look at all the teams combined, I think we have the most solid total roster. I think that we can put up a competitive lineup regardless of if it's A, B, or C lineup. And I think that especially in the A and B lineups, we may have an advantage on other teams. Obviously, there are teams that have higher salary players, but they're going to have lower salary supporting players as well. So I think we can find room there to exploit the lower salary players and kind of give us an edge there. Especially in the B lineup, when you look at any of the B lineups that are fielded throughout, at least for me, I feel comfortable competing against any one of the GCs that's in this league.
Pops would like to have a word.
Hey, you know what? We'll see when that time comes.
All right, so I mean, really, just one more question. You've kind of touched on it a little bit already about how you could do it, what you have to do in order to do it. But do you think you can do it? Do you think you can turn it around, make the playoffs? You got 20 games left. You're already down 4 games from third place. Can you do it?
I mean, I definitely think we do it. And I mean, other teams are going to hope that we don't do it because I think if we make it to the playoffs, we are going to be a problem.
Big words.
What we really have to do is these next couple of weeks, we really have to win big. I mean, this week we need to be looking for at least a 4-1, hopefully, and that'll really put us in a competitive spot for the playoff spots. And that's what we're going to need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I don't want to go throughout the end tail of the season needing 5-0s and 4-1s and putting unnecessary pressure on our team. That usually does not. It's just not going to end well in most situations. So I'd rather get as many wins as possible in the front half, and then be able to take 2-3s or 3-2 wins in the later half in order to ride out into the playoffs.
Sure. No, that makes sense. All right, that's all the questions I think that we have, unless Jay has thought of.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
So we'll just go ahead and get right into our pick'ems. We'll go over our week 1 pick'ems first. So each week we're gonna have my pick'ems, Jay's pick'ems, and then our guests' pick'ems as well. We had Sammy on for the award show, so we went ahead and did his pick'ems for week 1. We were pretty much the same across the board on 4 of the 6 matches. We were all on the Water Bears, Purple Cobras, Honey Badgers, and Scarlet Wings, who all did win. Where we did have some discrepancy was that myself and Sammy were on the Venom, Jay was on the Finishers, and then myself and Jay were on the Narcotics department, and Sammy was on the Blue Coats. So it was just looking at this, we've kind of went over the matches already, so we don't need to go into that too far. So overall record, I went 6-0. JBV and Sammy, so our guests, are 5-1. So we'll go ahead and look at this week's pick'ems for myself, Jay, and then Galaxy. Again, a lot of similarity. All 3 of us in 4 of the matches had the same picks. 2 of them we did alternate a little bit. But let's go match by match, kind of give a little bit of thoughts on why we picked each team that we did. Cobras and Water Bears. This is a C matchup. I'm honestly not as confident now as I was when I made this pick. After seeing the stats that T-Bone put up last week. So you got J-Hex and C against Lightning and T-Bone. Really could go either way. I think it's going to be a 3-2 either way. I think J-Hex is probably the best player in that lobby in that session. So I took the best player. But what do you guys think? You guys both picked the Cobras as well.
Yeah, so I'm not picking against JX, honestly. I know TBJ is better than he lets on, but I really do think the Cobras have a solid C roster. I scrimmed them personally. I saw what they could do. Obviously, I'm a 9-5, so it doesn't mean much. But in my eyes, I thought they were very good C roster. So that's why I picked them. I haven't played Lightning and TBJ.
At least for me, there's a couple things that I glean on in order to make my decision of the Purple Cobras. The first is the recent scrims that have been going on. Most recently, the Purple Cobras playing their C lineup, scrimming against the Venom's A lineup, and it was a very competitive series, which is incredible for a C lineup to be able to do against two GCs.
They weren't warmed up.
Oh, true. And also, myself, I scrimmed against the Water Bears. I think that the Water Bears' main issue is going to be rotationally.
Mm-hmm.
I think their team is more focused too much on going for 1v1 plays, which inevitably, if they don't work, on the defensive end, whoever's back is going to have to play a 2v1, which a lot of the times isn't very good. And I think J-Hex is a very disciplined player, and I think he knows when to challenge and when to let the opposing player kind of go in the air and do crazy stuff and waste all their boosts. And I think J-Hex is the perfect player to be able to exploit what I think to be the Water Bears' main weakness.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I do think that they will come out on top. I think it could be a really good series, especially if Lightning can pop off mechanically. But we'll just have to see. C is also really tall and also pretty solid defensively.
C is extremely tall.
So that one should be fun. Next one, we got the Wild Hogs at the Matadors, the defending champs, and the Matadors, who are both 0-5, if I am not mistaken.
Yes.
So
No. Matadors 1-4.
Yes, they did get a game off Pops. I forgot.
Yeah, got a game off Pops. Good job, Pops.
Yeah, I imagine. But anyway, I was close. Matadors have one of the best C lineups in the league. I don't think there's too much doubt in this one. Hobo and Sammy is a solid lineup, but I don't think it's as good as Bledsoe and Atomic. We'll see if Atomic's internet and just Atomic being Atomic holds up, but I still think that's the pick here.
And for me, I think similar to the Water Bears, the Matadors' weakness is going to be themselves. I mean, whether or not they can stay focused throughout all 5 games, not worrying about ping issues, about all the little stuff, the demos, all of that. I know that Atomic can sometimes be prone to getting in his own head, which in a long 5-game series, depending on how early that happens, can affect the play throughout the entire series. So I think if Atomic is able to stay level-headed throughout the entire series, not worrying about little ping spikes, getting demoed, and if Atomic and Bledsoe can really build that chemistry, because I know neither of those 2 players previously to this have ever played together, I think they'll be in a good spot. But I can also see the flip side to that, where Atomic isn't able to keep a level head, maybe gets a little angry at ping spikes or demos or whatever early in the series, which allows the Wild Hogs to kind of take over throughout. I mean, honestly, I think this is one of the few matchups that you could say can be 5-0 either way. I mean, I could see any range of possibilities coming from this match.
Me personally, I'm sorry, Sammy. I got to go with the Matadors. I think the Matadors have probably the second best C roster. I think when I'm looking at it, is just I don't want to count out Hobo and Sammy. I think we could definitely see them steal 2 games, or be upset and steal 3 games. Because like you said, Atomic, he can tilt, he can get upset. I can't pick against that. I mean, it's the same duo that stole a game off Pops. So I'm gonna go with the Matadors because I do think Pops is the greatest Rocket League player ever.
I mean, yeah, sure. So I'm really curious about this next one. Blasters and Badgers. We're all three on the Blasters.
Wow.
I mean, would you believe it? I kind of said earlier about the Blasters C lineup, how it's going to be much improved. But I'm more curious just to see JBV. Why are you picking the Blasters this week, bud?
All right. So here's the thing, man. I like being the underdog. I like upsetting people. I like filling people's heads with nonsense. Maybe we steal a game. Maybe we steal two games. Maybe we win. Maybe we win. I don't know. I think everybody's gonna go with the Blasters. Obviously, they have the salary advantage. We're the underdog. Whatever. Okay, it's cool. I'll go along with it. I'll sacrifice a win in pick'ems for a win on the pitch, bro. That don't bother me at all.
So you're saying you like being wrong?
Um.
Because if
Shut
you're
up,
so confident in your team, why
Shut
don't you
up,
pick your
Galaxy.
own team?
Shut up,
He's
Galaxy.
saying he'd rather be wrong and win than be right and
Why not
lose.
be right and win? Why not be right and win? If you're so confident with your team, pick yourself
Part
and
of
be
the-
right and win.
It's part of the mental games, bro. Get ready to get quick chatted. It's coming.
I'm not going to get quick chatted.
I
I'm
hope you
not on the
know.
field.
Oh, my bad. I'll type to you, Galaxy. I'll type to
Alright,
you. But you better tell your boys to get ready because I'm coming with the quick chat.
Oh, we'll be ready. Don't you worry.
And I hope they like the inside of the gulag because they go in there.
Galaxy, any extra thoughts about the Blasters and Badgers this week?
I mean, I know Himley is a very solid player. I also know that Himley has also not been playing as much Rocket League recently as he has in the past. He's had work. He's had other commitments come up that has limited his play in terms of Rocket League. I don't know how comfortable he has been recently within Rocket League, and I think the Cheesy Blasters are prone to be able to take advantage of that. I think Nate and Alec will both be scrimming, and they'll be prepared for this matchup, and I really do think that our team can take this.
All right. So can I quote you on this? You're saying Himley is trash and that he can't win. That is what you're saying. I will take that back to Badger Court. All right. That is what you
Bulletin
said.
board
I have
material.
I have it on video.
I mean, yeah, we've all seen it at this point. This is the last matchup that we've got that we're all three together on. Finishers in the narcotics department. I don't think there's too much to this one. I think the lineup is going to be Nit and Zyda against Easy and ZB.
SOP, brother.
I love that lineup from the narcotics department with all of my heart, but it's Nit and Zyda. I mean, Nit is, I said earlier, no worse than a top 2 player in this league, and I mean, that's all it comes down to. And Zyda was our B player star of the week from week 1. I mean, there's not much else really to say. ZB hasn't played much Rocket League. I just don't see this going particularly well for the narcotics department. It could be a 3-2. I see it more likely being probably a 4-1, maybe even a 5-0.
I'll be honest, when you look at this on paper, I think the Nit versus Easy matchup, just in and of itself, is a very interesting one. I think if you were to put those players head-to-head against each other in a 1v1, I really do think Easy takes it. I think Easy and his patient playing is able to exploit a lot of offenses in terms of if they don't put it in the net, they're going to instantly get counterattacked and scored on. I really do think that Easy versus Nit, I really do think Easy takes that in a best of 3, best of 5, however many you want to do. I really do think Easy takes that. But like you said, I think the supporting cast is really where the difference is made. I mean, you can quabble about Nit versus Easy, which one's actually the better player. I mean, the differences between those two players are very subtle in terms of the value that they bring to a team. I think the difference between Zyda and ZB, I think the difference is large enough there that it allows the finishers to win.
So my thought process on this, obviously everybody knows Easy, my boys on the Badgers last season. I have finishers over Narcs. I think I could definitely be wrong. And here's why. So I think it'll be an important tell how game 2 goes. Game 1, I guarantee will go to the finishers. I guarantee. I'll bet my yearly salary on it. I guarantee, because Easy does not care about game one. What he's doing in game one is he's seeing what are they doing and how do I stop it. Game two, and it was the same every game, every match we played last season. It was the same. We spent game one just watching and waiting, and that's something that Easy and ZB both kind of instilled in me, and it's changed a lot of the way that I play the game. And obviously, ZB, my man's is a head football coach, so he thinks the same way. What are they doing? Let's fill them out. Let's see what they're doing, because all they need is a win. That's what they're going for. They need a win to move up. So, or really not even move up. I mean, they're ahead. I think I'm picking finishers, but I would not be surprised to see a 3-2 or even 4-1 victory for Easy and ZB. I think what comes down to it is I just know Easy and ZB aren't playing as much Rocket League as they used to.
Right. So this next one, I'm not completely sure how to go about this one, but
I think we just say it, bro.
I think you're right. It's Venom and Scarlet Wings. We'll kind of go into why we picked the way we picked, but as we know, this game has already happened. Result being a 5-0 for the Scarlet Wings. Let's go. Really, I mean, I picked it because it's my team. I'm not going to pick against my team the whole season. Just FYI. It's just not going to happen. But I really did think we had a good chance to win. Maddie and Kopex are pretty correct, both of them. Everyone hyped up the Venom as having 2 GCs, but I mean, I don't know. I was never sold. I thought they were a top half team. Never thought they were a number 1 team. Like they were ranked in power rankings or at least close to that. So I was pretty confident going in, and it ended up in a good result, obviously.
All right, so I'll just explain the reason why I picked the Venom was because I wanted Pi to lose. And I knew that if I picked Pi to win, he would lose because that's what he does, because he's a sneaky little snake. So I knew he was going to try to mess my pick'ems up, and he cares more about seeing other people lose than see his own self win. So that is why I picked Venom over Wings. And the thing that I wanted to happen happened. That's all I have to say.
I think my theory is that now that they have been 5-0 and you're wrong, you may or may not be backtracking on your original statements that you would have made.
I mean, can anybody watching in the chat? I want some responses in the chat. Can you guys see me picking Pi to win anything ever? Probably not.
The reason why I originally picked the Scarlet Wings to win this was twofold. I mean, previously, like I said, they played against the Purple Cobras, and the Purple Cobras did way better than a C team should do against an A roster, especially 2 GCs. The second thing is, to be honest, seeing the Scarlet Wings versus the Revenants game was probably the most unconvincing thing from the side of the Revenants. Like, Maddie, for those 2 first games, looked like a completely different player than the last 3 games. And I honestly do think if that's replayed, the Revenants maybe sneak out 1 if they're lucky. I really cannot see a situation where if that's replayed, the Revenants do the same or better. Mm-hmm. Maddie is just such an underrated player, honestly. Like, when you talk about top players in the league, not a lot of people will bring up Maddie's name because he's not a flashy player. He's not doing flip resets or double touches every possession. He's not, going for insane play of the week.
He's trying for flip resets. Trust me.
Well, okay. He's not doing as much crazy stuff as some of the other players in the league. And I think that when you really look at what he's been doing, it's incredibly impressive. And I mean, Kopex as well. He's been on that cusp of GC for a long, long time, and he's not a bad player by any means. So you're essentially looking at a GC versus GC matchup, and when you have the highest GC on the pitch, that's the team that's the better team overall. I mean, you got to look at the best player on the pitch, and that team has such an advantage over the others.
Yeah, and that really came to fruition. Very, very happy to see 8 games in a row now for the Scarlet Wings. But we'll get into the next matchup. maybe the most surprising pick of the week here from Galaxy, the Bluecoats at the Revenants. JBV and I go with the Revenants and Galaxy on the Bluecoats. Revenants, we've said it multiple times, have a top two C roster at worst, and I just don't see there's any way that the Agent Thunder and Dilu can match that. They're definitely both solid players. Dilu's a giant sandbag, but I don't think it's enough. I am curious, Galaxy, what's your rationale on the Bluecoats?
Well, for me, honestly, I think Dilu is going to be the player that sets the tone for the Bluecoats. I mean, just seeing what he was able to do in the MLE season and throughout the playoffs, it was genuinely impressive. I mean, his team could have easily made it to the finals, and I don't think anyone would have batted an eye. I mean, he's just that good of a player. And I think that, honestly, if you replayed the MLE playoffs, it could be different. I mean, you could easily see Dilu if that's replayed, winning a championship. I really do think. Obviously, Ryder and KD, they do have the higher salary. But obviously, you can't always just look at salary. And in some cases, you do have to predict an upset. Obviously, it's not the best statistically maybe to do. Probably if you play, 100 matchups, I'm sure Ryder and KD probably take the majority. But that's not what's happening. It's based off one 5-game series. I can see a world where Ryder and KD get a little bit too comfortable. They take a game one, and they start playing slow. And then Agent Thunder and Dilu really kick up the pace. And then Ryder and KD can't really catch back up. I mean, I could see them 3-2ing the Revenant.
Brother, why are we replaying everything? You just talking about replaying series, bro. What you mean? What happened?
No, that's just me. That's just me illustrating the point that whether or not how close something is. I mean, I think the majority of people will say that if you play a long series of games, more than 5, the majority will go to the Revenant. They have the higher salary player. They have more skill.
But you're saying that the difference between a good day and a bad day at the office could result in the Bluecoats taking a win here.
This is the old football saying of any given Sunday.
And and I agree with that.
I think this has the potential to be the prime upset for this week. I mean, this is the any given Sunday matchup.
I've had many arguments within Y-Mans that the best team does not always win. And that is the truth. The best team does not always win. The best team is not always the champion. Maybe they won the championship. That does not mean they're the best team, because in sports or esports, if you have a bad day, you have a bad day, and you lose to a team that's not as good as you. You play down to them. I don't think that Atomic and Bledsoe were better than us in Game 5, but I think we dropped a game to them. But with that being said, Dilu's a great player. The Revenants have the better team. They have the better C roster. They have the best or second best, depending on how you look at it. I think I've called both them and the Matadors the best C roster at different times, honestly, because I can't choose between the two of them. They're just top 2 C roster, man. I can't pick against them.
I mean, I think that the game against the Scarlet Wings is attributed to 2 things. Obviously, Matty Bananas, that second half, was playing out of his mind. Like, I think those last 3 games, he had like an 8 or 9 MVPR, maybe even more. But also, the Revenants also fell off. Like, they stopped playing the same way they were playing for those first 2 games. Like, they got way too comfortable. They started playing way too much defense, giving too much room to the opposing team. And I could honestly see a very similar situation playing out. Obviously, the Bluecoats don't have a Matty Bananas.
Exactly. That was going to be my next point.
But you don't need a Matty Bananas to win. You just need to play very cohesively with your team and pick your shots carefully. And I think that the Bluecoats honestly do have a very good shot of taking the series.
I mean, we'll see, bro. I'll mail you this right here once the game's played.
You'll
get one of those in the mail.
For those of you watching at home that realize JBV is not on camera right now, it was an L. Just FYI.
It wasn't
to the viewers at home. All right, so that's our pick'ems. We're pretty much chalk across the board. Just a couple of games where one person there is different. But yeah, I think it's a pretty straightforward week for the most part. Really excited to see how the rest of the week plays out. But now we're going to go ahead and get into our week, post week 1, pre week 2 power rankings. Kind of go over these for just a minute here. And I can already see some, at least one glaring issue with this, but that's neither here nor there.
Roll Tide.
We've got the Purple Cobras jumping all the way to number 1 after a pretty dominating performance against the Wild Hogs. Honey Badgers remain at number 2. The Venom dropped down from number 1 to number 3. Scarlet Wings dropped from 3 to 4. The Water Bears move up 2 spots to number 5. Finishers drop 2 spots to 6. Narcotics Department drops a spot to 7. Bluecoats up 2 to 8. Wild Hogs and Revenants both down a spot to 9 and 10 respectively. And naturally, the Matadors and the Cheesy Blasters stay 11 and 12.
How does that feel, Galaxy?
Well, I mean, I know that several of the people that did do power rankings already submitted their power rankings before the transaction went through. So
Mute him. Keep going, Royal. Mute him. That's a invalid point. Invalid point. Continuing.
Inadmissible.
If I had to guess that the power rankings were redone, I would imagine we would be higher than last place.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever, dude. Yeah, we're redoing everything tonight, folks.
Maybe 11th. Maybe
14th. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know. I mean, I can't fault the Cobras going to number 1. They were dominant last week. Really, they looked like the best team in my opinion.
Yep.
Really, Honey Badgers 2 Pops is insane. Knowing the result of this week, obviously Venom over Scarlet Wings is not going to be the case. I see Scarlet Wings going to at least top 3, maybe higher depending on results from other teams.
Not if I have anything.
Could see Venom dropping several spots, and honestly, they barely squeaked out a win over the Finishers week 1, and then now 0-5 in week 2. So really nothing else too crazy. I think the Finishers are definitely better than 6th. I mean, they lost 2 spots, I think, just because their C lineup lost. But I don't know. Do you guys see anything outlandish or anything that you want to really comment on these?
Well, what was the Narcotics Department at?
They're 7. They lost 1 spot to
where was
7.
the Water Bears?
And the Water Bears are at 5.
I think you have to at least flip those teams. I mean, I really do think that the Narcotics Department are a better team throughout than the Water Bears. I think the Narcotics Department at 7 is very much stretching it. I mean, I would agree. Same with the Finishers. I think the Venom are way too high. I think the Venom maybe fall to 7. I think Water Bears go to 6. Narcotic Department 5. Leaves room for the Finishers at 4. And then you round off the top 3 with the Scarlet Wings, Honey Badgers, and the Purple Cobra. Mm-hmm. I think that makes more sense, at least for me. Obviously, that's with knowing what happened with the Scarlet Wings Venom series. So, yes, I have a little bit of extra knowledge than the people that submitted the power rankings.
Right.
But I think, at least for me, that's where I feel more comfortable. And then, obviously, you could fill in the rest of the teams at the bottom half however you wish.
Right.
I mean, obviously, I think some of the teams at the bottom might be better, but until they prove themselves, until they show what they're capable of, including my own team, I think that you still have to leave them in that, bottom third where they are.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I was just looking at this, like, any of the top 8 teams here, I really could see making, being a top 6, top 5, top 4 team at a certain point if they continue to be, play well. Like, I mean, you have, except Venom, I see them dropping to like 7, maybe 8, maybe 9. I mean, Scarlet Wings, Water Bears could be crazy with Water and Lightning. Finishers obviously have Knit. Narcotics Department has Easy, ZB, Aubrey, like solid team there. Bluecoats played really well, lost a 3-2 to the Narcotics Department. I mean, that's what I love about this season of Wyman's League, is that every team is legit. At least seems to be so far. had some bad results in week 1 from a few teams, but really just a solid group of teams, and nobody, at least so far, is standing out so far ahead of the crowd like the Dragons kind of did last season. Didn't end up winning, but
Thanks to the Honey Badgers.
yeah, I mean, did the best team win last season? Back to your point, I don't know.
No, the best team was the Honey Badgers, and they did not win,
Well,
unfortunately.
that's debatable. But
Did the best team get out of the first round of the playoffs?
no, the Scarlet Wings did not make it out of the first round of the playoffs.
I was just wondering.
I will say the thing that becomes interesting is the difference between regular season power rankings and the playoffs. Because the playoffs, you have to play through every single roster,
Right.
whereas power rankings, maybe you're looking at individual matchups and saying,
Exactly.
I think this team versus this team in this one matchup is better, and that adjusts how you see things, and also based on past matchups. Excuse me. When you look
Who's beaten Pops twice?
it's definitely possible.
The Honey Badgers last
I
season.
mean, it's definitely possible.
We
I
did
mean, you
not
look
beat Pops twice. We beat them once.
Well, I mean, you still have to beat that team
Who's
twice.
beaten JBV once? Who's beaten JBV once?
Okay, buddy.
Nobody
I
that
mean,
know.
and that's a great point though. I mean, and people will probably look at it different ways. And I think the finishers are a really good example of what you're saying. Their A lineup beats a lot of other A lineups. And Nit and Zyda beat a lot of teams. But you get their C lineup. You have like Zyda and JGab. I don't think that's one of the better C lineups. So in a playoff series where you have to play all three matchups, I don't think that's a matchup that benefits them, that favors them. So it's definitely interesting to see what people do on power rankings in that sort of situation. Whereas like the Purple Cobras, I think have a really solid 3 lineups. So it's definitely gonna be interesting. I'm really looking forward to getting to the playoffs, my team, and just generally to see how it kind of shakes out. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, like there honestly are 2 different parts to the season. There's
Yeah.
the regular season, which is how many wins can you pump out so that you get a playoffs. That's all
exactly.
it is. I mean, it honestly doesn't matter whether you make the 1 spot or you make the 8 spot. It really doesn't matter. Because if you think you are the best team, you have to beat every other team anyway. So it really doesn't matter where you slot into that 1 through 8. I mean, obviously you'd like to play a worse team, but if you're trying to win a championship and that's your ultimate goal, it doesn't matter for the first half of the season where you place. The latter half is a whole different obstacle. That's just winning the championship. That's going through all 3 of your rosters. That's a whole different gauntlet than the first half. And I think teams need to identify that. And I think that the teams at the bottom that do have good lineups really need to start making better pushes now, because this short of a season, if you start off poorly, I mean that could spell the end of your entire season.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of teams at the bottom half that are fighting for a playoff spot that could actually make a good playoff run because of how solid their overall roster is.
Mhm.
I mean, some of these other rosters are very top heavy.
This man trying to talk real highly of the Cheesy Blasters. Right?
No, it's not even just my team. I mean, you can look at almost all the rosters, and there's a lot of good teams that are at the bottom half that their overall team is really, really solid. It's just maybe the first couple weeks they had some bad matchups. And in the playoffs, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah. One more thing, and we're running like really
Way
high on time.
over.
We're like way long on time. I just want to say one thing, and it's back to your point about how it's 2 different seasons. A total of 5 series in the regular season that you're playing. If you make the championship, you are playing a maximum of 9 series in the playoffs. And you're playing almost double.
Yeah.
In the playoffs. I mean, it's really just a absolute grind once you get to the playoffs, and I really like it. I love our playoff format. I would not change it. I think it really just shows who the best overall team is. And yeah, like you said, it's a sprint to the playoffs, and then it's a grind.
Yeah, sprint to a marathon.
Yeah, and it really shows. I think you get the best teams into the playoffs by doing it that way, but then you show who really is the best.
And only one person here even knows what it's like to make it all the way to the game. Who is that?
I think there is a little bit too less of an element of any given Sunday once you get to the playoffs, and because you have to play 3 different series, when you have to win 3 best of 5s or win 2 best of 5s to advance. I think there's less fluctuation, there's less parity. I think in the playoffs. Well, we are like 41 minutes just on Galaxy's interview here alone.
Oh!
Yeah, we're going to be looking at probably an hour on the total episode. But,
Oh my
it's fun.
God!
It's
Dude,
fun.
people are gonna be upset.
I mean, are they though? I mean, they get to hear us speak.
It's good content.
It is hashtag content, hashtag for the brand.
We just got sued.
We're just
Congratulations.
Yeah. All right, Pat McAfee, if you're watching this, what's up, dog? Anyway, that's gonna be it. We can't fit any more into this episode. We will sign off here, and we will see you
Roll
all
Tide, boys.
next week. Thank you, Galaxy. Thank you, Jay. Peace.
Very much.